Good morning, everyone. My guest today is Michael Chasin. He's the co-founder and CEO of the legal tech company Lexicata, the world's #1 client intake and CRM software for lawyers. With thousands of law firms on the platform across 20 plus countries, the company helps bridge the technology gap many law firms face as more and more professional services move onto the cloud. Before this company, he founded LawKick in 2012, a leading online marketplace for seamlessly connecting clients to the perfect lawyer for their needs. After that, he became innately familiar with the fact that lawyers often struggle to manage their leads effectively. That's when he launched Lexicata in 2014. Michael, are you ready to take us to the top?
Yeah, we go.
All right, man. So this is like a tough space. Lawyers are cheap and it's hard to sell to them. Tell us what the company does and how you make money.
Yeah, so what we're is a SaaS platform. Essentially what we are is, kind of like Salesforce for law firms is the easiest way to kind of describe what we are. Right, they are a very difficult breed to work with. They're very argumentative and they are very educated in their craft. However, they're not as educated in ways of running a business or technology. So it is definitely a struggle. Implementation is a big thing that we really focus on from a service standpoint. So that's a big thing that we emphasize here.
And what's the revenue? It is pure play SaaS?
What's that?
It's a pure play SaaS revenue model?
Exactly. So it's a combination of multiple things, monthly and annual subscriptions. And then because of the difficulty with lawyers, we do have like an onboarding fee that kind of varies depending on the size of the firm. But we start at about $50 a month for a single user, and we go all the way up to $1,000 a month, depending on the size of the firm. And then you can do an annual plan plus at least a couple hundreds for setup up to a few thousand.
And what would you say the average customer is paying you per month?
Average customer is about $100 a month.
Okay, got it. Good. And then give me more of the backstory here. When did you launch the company? I think you said 2014, right?
Yeah, so this was originally a kind of a pivot from LawKick. I know you mentioned 2012, we launched LawKick. Essentially what LawKick was kind of like an Odesk or a TaskRabbit for law firms. So basically, I got a DUI, I'm performing my business, I need to go find a lawyer. And effectively what we figured out was it didn't matter how many leads we sent to these law firms, they just had such a crappy process for following up and tracking people. And then they also had a very paper-driven process. So they would require PDFs and printing and all this nonsense. So we said, before we can fix the problem of getting more leads to the clients or to the lawyers, we need to fix the fundamental issues. So we started in about 2000, we started coming up with the idea late 2013. And then 2014 was really when we built the product and started to move.
And have you bootstrapped it since then, or have you raised?
Yeah. So when we first started the company, that was LawKick, we raised a few $100,000 and we basically were close to running out of money. And that's what kind of forced the pivot. And since then, we've been completely bootstrapped off the SaaS.
So how much money did you raise in the beginning?
Just about 180 or 200,000.
Okay.
Like that.
And did you keep those investors on, or did you actually basically shut that other company down and clean the cap table?
Yeah. That would be pretty dirty, I think, to do a pivot. So we kept, basically the whole idea and the idea change and the staff change was just basically me and my co-founder Aaron. We're the two people who stuck on. We didn't have a big team at first, anyways, and we just rolled those investors and we just kind of do a DBA for Lexicata.
Smart. Yep, smart. And how many customers have you scaled to?
So we have a few thousand at this point.
Okay.
Law firm. And then, average of 3 to 4 users per firm.
Okay, got it. And so, so when you say a few thousand, are we talking 1,000 or 9,000 or 50,000?
In the low thousands, 3,000. Range.
Okay, got it. Very good. And then you said, I think you said after that, you said on average, call it 2 seats per logo.
About 3.
3. Okay, good. Well, I think you said earlier, each one pays what? Call it $100 per month. So it's fair to say what, $300,000 a month, something like that right now?
Something around there. Yeah, we're in the few million range
on
run rate.
And if you take that back a year ago, help me understand growth. What were you doing in July 2017?
Yeah, so I'd say we've more than doubled year over year pretty much for the last few years. Since we're bootstrapped and since it's such a tough industry, you don't get that kind of scalability you get in consumer side. And obviously since we're not enterprise, it's hard to move the needle with any one customer. So it's just a slow, a grind and burn type of thing. And really we've been getting a lot of our acquisition through partner channels. So it's a lot harder to just market to law firms because they're not really a huge online business like a SaaS company would be or an enterprise enterprise company would be. So it's really hard to like really scale really quickly in this space.
Yeah, well, still, it sounds like if you grew 100% year over year and you're 300 today and so I'll call it 150 a year ago, that's still pretty healthy growth for a bootstrapped company in this space.
Yeah, definitely. And the year before that, I think we had about like 170% growth or something.
That's great. That's good. Well, and in all fairness, it's easy to go from $1 to $3, right?
Exactly.
But hey, you got to throw that growth number in there, right?
Exactly, right.
All right. Talk to me. I mean, you just mentioned some of the difficulties with acquiring these guys. What is your CAC today, fully weighted?
Yeah, so honestly, we don't really have a super high CAC. It's very low, like it's in the $50 range, mainly because we don't do a ton of marketing because it's just hard to like find these people. So our CAC is only going to really involve a few things. One is going to involve conferences. We spend some money sponsoring conferences and those types of things. Two is obviously salespeople and commissions. And then for the most part, we're not really spending much money on marketing. I mean, we're probably spending between something like, $1,000 to $3,000 a month on like pure like marketing, Facebook ads, those type of things. We're trying different channels, but it's pretty low CAC, but obviously it's artificially low just because, there isn't like a whole lot of ways that you can market besides just branding efforts in our space.
What's the team size today?
So right now there's about 18 of us.
Okay. And where's everybody based?
LA. Everyone there. We don't do any like fully remote people. All our devs are here. We don't outsource anything.
That's great. Okay, good. So call it a $50 CAC on $100 per month price point means you're getting paid back in about a month, right? So super quick.
Yep. Yeah, very quick, especially with that onboarding fee. We have like a minimum, like about a $400 onboarding fee. So we're pretty much, making money on people immediately.
Yep. And what churn is critical in this kind of business? What's your churn?
Really low, and it's dropping. It's dropping really quickly. So historically, it's been about 2.5% per month, and right now we're dropping sub 2 now. So we're like the mid ones.
And that's logo churn or revenue churn?
That's gonna be customer churn.
Like by logo or by number of logos lost or by the actual revenue they represent?
Logos, not revenue. It tends to be pretty even. The bigger firms, actually, if anything, it's lower because we tend to retain the bigger firms on a longer basis. The ones the highest churn are going to be like these solo practitioners who are one-person shops who, like, we probably get like 5 firms a month who literally just shut down their business.
Yeah.
And hey, I'm just going to go become a full-time mom, or I'm retiring, or joining a bigger firm.
So when you look at net revenue retention annually,
pretty high.
Yeah. What are you? I mean, I assume you're over 100. How far?
What's that?
I assume you're over 100%. How far above 100%?
I honestly, I don't know that number exactly off the top of my head, but yeah, it's slightly above.
Okay. And when you are driving expansion revenue, what's the biggest factor driving that expansion? Is it number of seats, new product add-ons? What is it?
So right now we don't have different tiers, just because like we're kind of one of the first ones to really do this in the space. So we're one of the first ones to do this in the space. So essentially, it's a lot of education. So we're not trying to like make the sales super complex. So we don't want different tiers and things like that. So when it comes to like upselling, it's going to be in terms of number of users and growth. A lot of people, I think one of the things that a lot of software and SaaS companies in general struggle to do is get people to really buy in completely in the first fell swoop, right? So a lot of our firms will say, hey, I have 30 employees. That might be the number of users I have eventually, but I'm just going to start with like a little guinea pig microcosm of like 4 users in this one department and see if it works and expand. So that's where the upsell potential is in terms of users, but we're going to be seeing new features and eventually moving more towards a tiered model.
Yep. And walk me through you have enough cohort, kind of, I assume a large enough sample cohort to know these numbers. What do you assume lifetime value is in months and dollars?
So we're still kind of figuring that out because we haven't been around for super long. And again, like some will churn very fast and a lot of people stick for a long time. So our LTV right now is somewhere like north of 5K.
Yeah.
Somewhere 5 to 10. Obviously that'll change over time. And then in terms of months, like it's going to be somewhere probably between, I think it's something between like 16 to 20 months, something in that range.
Yep. Fair enough. Good stuff. Are you obviously built a company, at the point now where it's doing over $3 million in ARR. I don't know in terms of profitability. Are you guys cash flow positive today?
Yeah, we always have been. That's always run the business. We kind of like run it a little differently. My co-founder and I don't really take a whole lot of money out of the company. We're more just investing in growth. So we pay ourselves, a moderate salary, and then we pretty much feed every single dollar that we make back to the business.
Are you raising capital today?
So no, we a lot of bites and a lot of inquiries from like PE firms and growth equity. We might go that route eventually. We're unsure. It kind of depends on what the market looks in the next year or two, whether people are adopting at a faster or slower rate. But right now, we kind of don't have a strong need to raise capital. We've kind of had super hyper growth phase where we went from like 4 to 18 employees in like 8 months, and we've kind of focused a lot more on streamlining efficiencies and avoiding having to hire a lot of people. So from here on forward, I don't think expenses are going to go up too much. Just some menial, obviously some what's it called? Some moving expenses, right?
Variable marketing expenses.
Exactly. Sorry, variable was the word I was looking for. So variable expenses will go up a little bit, but not much. So at this point, we can start to really invest a ton of money, invest in obviously our staff, and really making it a great place to work.
Yeah. If you did go out and raise today, I'm curious, what valuation do you think you'd be able to get?
Somewhere, between 8 to 15, something like that.
Yeah, that seems about fair. 3 to kind of 5-6x ARR.
Something like that, especially when you're growing still at around 100% a year. It's easy to get that kind of valuation, but it really depends on, there are a lot of things like for us in legal, when you talk other like PE firms or capital firms in legal, they're going to tell you anything around a 2% churn rate is like amazing, right? Really low. Whereas if you talk to like enterprise customers, it's like, a 0.2% rate is bad.
Sure.
So for us, we're actually doing really great in that market because there's just a lot of turnover in the small business market.
Yep. Very good. Let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, what's your favorite business book?
Lean Startup Method. That was the first one I did. Obviously, everyone probably says that, but it's a great.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying right now?
So one of the ones that I always like, he's a mentor to me, but he's kind of not really CEO. Gary Swart, he was the former CEO of Desk, and now he's at Polaris. I've always really enjoyed the work he did. He kind of came from a salesperson, worked his way up. So I've always kind of envied him in the way he does things.
Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building businesses?
Ooh, favorite online tool for growing business. We use so many of them. Honestly, one that's worked really well for us, we use Autopilot for email marketing. And that's super helpful, and it's really cool because we've kind of grown in them, so they've really grown over time. That's probably one of my favorite tools.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep are you getting every night?
I actually been a lot better these days. Last night I didn't do a lot of sleep because I got a big presentation today, but I'd say I don't need that much sleep. I'd say 6 hours a night is probably what I get on average.
And what's your situation? Married, single, kids?
Still serious girlfriend.
Okay, not married. No kiddos that you know of?
No kids.
All right.
That's why I can sleep 6 hours and still enjoy it.
And how old are you?
I'm going to be 31 next month.
31. Very good. Last question. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
How hard it'd be, I'd probably say, and how long it'd take. I think a lot of people read, we read the Lean Startup Method, we follow TechCrunch and all these things, and we're just like, we see all these instant successes, and a lot of times we don't know that there were 3 failures before they got to that in success on that 4th try. So I think just like how persistent and how long it takes. And the other thing I'd add is people. I thought, my partner and I are smart. We can kind of drive the business. We just need some people around to kind of fill some holes. I think we underestimate how important it is to have really good people around you if you want to grow a business.
Guys, get great people around you. Remember, it's always harder and always takes longer than you expect. He launched Lexicata, really pivoted to it in 2014, carrying his prior investors with him. That gave him and his co-founder about $200,000. Today, they service over 3,000 paying customers. Those customers are law firms. Think of them basically like the Salesforce for lawyers. Those 3,000 customers pay on average $100 a month. So doing about $300,000 per month in revenue. That's up 100% year over year from last year, doing about $150,000 a month in July 2017. 2.5% per month logo churn has been the historic number. That's now dropping below 2% and over 100% net revenue retention annually, spending less than 1 month of ARPU on acquiring the customer. So quick payback, lifetime value, they assume 16 months, which is actually higher when you actually look at churn, but conservatively 16 months and $5,000 in lifetime value with their team of 18 based in LA. Michael, thank you so much for taking us to the top.
Thanks. Appreciate it.